Right, it is time for September reading plans and TBR. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be the books I plan on reading in September and or my plans, and it is going to be a little bit like July and August, where there's some specific things that I'm working on, but there's also some other sort of like still to be determined types of things that I'm working on. And then I also have a challenge that I want to do later in the fall, or in the fall, and I am going to do a little pre-work on that to sort of set myself up for success. So those are going to be, I'm going to talk about some of the specific books, then talk about some of the plans, and then talk about the challenge that I'm working towards. And yeah, so that's how this month is hopefully going to shape up. Starting with the specific reads, the first one, I actually don't know what it is. So I have been buddy reading with Izzy and Kate Kelly, and I am filming this before the talk of the current book. So we're currently reading The Last Fallen Star by Gracie Kim. This is the first in the Gifted Clans, is it? I think it's Gifted Clans. I think it's Gifted Clans. Yeah, the first in the Gifted Clans series, that's part of the Rick Riordan Presents line. Absolutely loved it. This was like 4.5 stars for me. I gave it a 5 on Goodreads. I thought it was fantastic, and so I'm really, really happy about it. We're going to be talking about this on Tuesday, the 31st. So that's when we'll decide what the next book is, and so I'm not sure what that will be. I'm going to pitch for reading a trilogy so that we can finish the series by the end of the year. So I do have a couple noted, but if you have any recommendations for trilogy, especially any middle grade or YA that's fantasy or science fiction, or anything with illustrations too. We haven't read anything with illustrations for a while, but often that can be the case. So yeah, and if you would, maybe it's a trilogy that you would like to read and you would like to join us, and yeah, because I think that would be a lot of fun, and so I will see how things go, especially, you know, and also to see if people are also up for reading again. Sometimes we need a break, I don't know, but I've been reading with Izzy for now years, and Kate Kelly has joined us on the last, I think, 5 books, so yeah, and it's open, you know, and to join us, and so I'm looking forward to reading with both of them again if they're up for it, and anyone who would like to join. So that's a bit up in the air, but I do have some recommendations, so we'll see how things go, and when I know, I will post about it or share it in a video, or you can always watch Izzy's video, and it's whatever is at the end of whatever's at the end of this discussion will be that choice. So, and yeah, but I often mention it in like whatever I'm reading, although I haven't done a wrap-up for a while, but you know, that's sort of just, this month was a bit odd in terms of how things the rollout of the videos, but anyway, we're just gonna keep rolling with it. And then next up, I am also reading the Dark Hunters series by Sherrilyn Kenyon with Anita from Anita Reads. We are actually currently reading Night Pleasures, which is, it says on it, the first Dark Hunters novel, but it's actually the second in the series. We read Fantasy Lover first, and which is a bit more super centered as a paranormal romance. It's a paranormal romance series, but Fantasy Lover was very much paranormal romance. This one has a lot more world building and urban fantasy elements, and it's getting really interesting and complicated, and like there's a lot going on. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really enjoying reading it with Anita, and so I am imagining that we will continue on to read the third book, which is Night Embrace. So yeah, that is, I think, the plan. Like this one we're reading a little later in the month. I think we were both very enjoyed watching the Olympics, so we left this one later in the month. So Night Embrace is the next up, so I am making a bit of an assumption there, but I think we're both enjoying the series, so I think that that's how things will go. So yeah, you can see how this month is already a little like in flux, but yeah, but I think those are both on the roster. And then next up, I am going to be going to the library. For the summer, my plan has been to enjoy the library, and I have been doing that a lot, and I've been reading lots of library books. I have lots of library books out now. It's a lot, and I haven't, I did end up renewing everything, and so extending my library visit a week, which threw my schedule off. Oh my goodness, but I adjusted, and yeah, so I haven't gone to the library yet, so I'm going in very early September, so I will do a haul in sort of like within the first week of September, which will be, I imagine, a lot of the reading that I'm going to be focused on. I do have about half of my I have placed my hold, so half of them are for goals, and then the other half are sort of continuing series, and I'm going to be trying to be a little more restrained in my pickups in terms of browsing books, because for a couple of reasons. One, this is going to be my 5th library trip, and I'm planning 6 to pick stuff up, and then a 7th to return everything. And I think I don't want to put myself in a position where I have so many books that it's going to be hard to return them. I do bring a cart with me, like a little shopping cart, not like a buggy, not like a push in front of you, like a wire cart, not like that, like a, like a wheel. People know what a cart is, right? Anyway, so I don't want to be put in a position where I have so many books I can't return them all at once. So I think this next time around, I'm going to try and either return more than I normally do and or pick up a little less than I normally do, because right now I have 38 titles out and I've read 8. We're almost at the end of the month, so I'm definitely going to push to finish a couple more. But I'm getting to the point where I know I won't be able to finish everything, so I might get a little strategic and maybe add some of the titles to my saved list or my wish list for the library, and then I can have them easy for next summer to enjoy. So like I have like 3 or 4 romances out, and I've read one out of all of the library books I've had this summer. I read 1 romance, and it took me a couple months. And then so I'm like, I have 4 out right now. It's not very, likely I will read them all. And technically, this is a romance, and this is my focus read, and this is more important because it's a buddy read. So but we're almost done. So maybe I should keep, 1, 2? I don't know. Anyway, so it's been a lot. Going to the library has been so much fun. I have enjoyed so many of the books that I have read, but I think I need to sort of slow down. Like I sort of hit the peak of like how many books I had out, and now I need to sort of like ease down and get a little more hyper-focused on, okay, this is interesting, but I can get it next year, and then be like, okay, this is 2 more to finish the series, gotta focus on that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I was so mad though, because there's one series that I've been working on, Blade of the Immortal, and the next title I need to read isn't available. The 3 after that are available, but the next one isn't available. I considered maybe getting it on Kindle because I can't remember how much it is, but like, so anyway, so hopefully the next time around it will be available. There's less copies of it, that one, for some reason. There's 2, and for the most of the series there's 4. So anyway, so yes, I will probably keep going until I can finish that series, because I'm very close to the end, and it's 31 volumes long, so it's a long one. It'll feel really good to finish that off, and I have been enjoying it, So anyway, so yeah, so that's my plan, is library trip number 5, and that will be most of September, and then later in September I'm going to go again, but I'm going to try and not get as much. Also, because for me, one of the things I sometimes forget, but I'm going to say it now. But the other thing with September is it's when the fall TV series start up again. It's usually after the Emmys, which are around the 20th. That still says August. That's blocked. So it's the Sunday around the 20th is the Emmys, and then the Monday after that is when seasons come back or seasons premiere. And I love watching new shows. I love enjoying returning shows. So for that last week, I will be probably reading less, even though I don't tend to always read at night, so it won't be, and I tend to watch TV live. So it's not necessarily cutting into reading time, but it might be. So yeah, so I'm going to try and get a good amount of my reading done and my reading goals done in those first 3 weeks, because once TV hits, if I want to watch all of the new shows, I want to have the time open to be able to do so. So that is my library plan, and then the one at the end of the month, that's going to be the last trip for picking stuff up, and then I'll go in October to return everything. So, and I am, as I said, I am a week later than I expected. So, but October, and I think that'll be good. So I can have one last hurrah for Blade of the Immortal, hopefully, and any last goals, or be able to renew stuff if I haven't finished it yet, and just sort of finish things off. So we're we're on the denouement, I guess you could say, for the summer library reading. Yeah, and then so for my last thing, which is the challenge that I'm going to be doing later, which coincides with this, I'm going to probably start it in the middle of October and run it till the end of, no, run it to the beginning of December. I know I should just do November, like that's what makes more sense, but I want to give myself a couple extra weeks. And so what my plan is, as it stands right now, is that I am going to then spend that time, which is, I think it's October, I do know the dates, 17th to December 4th. That's my current plan, is I'm going to spend that time working on my currently reading. Yes, I'm going to bring back the work on my currently reading challenge, which I did in May. And because I am up to, well, today I have 40 books currently reading, but at least 10 of those are library books that I plan on finishing in the next whatever time period. But since I did my May challenge, I just, and I made lots of progress, right? I read, I can't remember, more than 2,000 pages. I finished several titles. I did a really great job. I'm really happy with how it went. But I still have about 30 books on my currently reading that haven't had any attention this entire summer, which is okay because I was enjoying the library. So now it's time to shift the attention back to those books. And I looked at the numbers, and there's unfortunately no way I can finish all of them or read all of the pages by the end of the year. But I did pick out a couple that would loosen the load or lighten the load and set me up for like a pretty good number. So between now and then, I picked 3 titles that I want to work on my currently reading, and this is very light because I still want to enjoy my summer library reads. So this is just, I think this is just picking 3 to work over the next month and a half, I think is quite doable. So I will be reading them in September, but if I go into October, that's fine. So I picked 3 titles, 1 fiction and 2 nonfiction. The fiction title I picked was Swordborn by Jennifer Roberson. This is the 5th book in the Tiger and Dell series. It's a fantasy series. This is actually a reread for me. And the next book, the 6th book, is one of the oldest books on my Goodreads TBR. So this is a book that I reread it. I read it for the first time over 10 years ago, so before I started Goodreads, and the first 4 books were a series unto themselves, and I read it a long time ago, and then eventually I found out that there were more books, and it's one of my favorite series. Rereading it now, I do see now that there are some challenges with it, but it's still in my heart one of my favorites, and there are just things that I didn't notice at the time. I really like this series in terms of the gender dynamics, because it really calls out a lot of assumptions, but some of the, I didn't pick up on some of the, I don't know what the best way to phrase it, there are some things I see now that I didn't see then. I don't think there's anything horrible, it's just something that I never noticed before. So anyway, so that feels a bit complicated in terms of that. And I mean, like, and I didn't know this in fantasy, that often the fantasy is like people pull from, I don't know what the right way to, I don't want to go into the details because I obviously haven't fully thought through all of that. And actually this one is a bit different. So anyway, so I'm not going to go into that. So anyway, I would like to finish this. My goal is if I read 4 chapters a week, I should finish it on time. I don't think that should be any trouble at all. I've actually been reading it at night, and I realized that I really like reading it at night. And I don't know if that's because it's a reread or because it's fantasy or just because I really like the book. I have no idea. But yeah, so this is going to be a slow burn, 4 chapters a week, and I think I can manage it for mid-October. And then I'm also, one of my nonfiction picks is the book of Pride, LGBTQ Heroes Who Changed the World by Mason Funk. This is a nonfiction book. It is interviews, and I started it in June for Pride Month, but then I didn't, when I started going to the library, I sort of put it to the side. It's available on Scribd, and I am actually going to focus on reading, it's broken down into sections, so I'm going to try and read 1 section a week, and there's usually 6 to 7 interviews per section. I do have some challenges with this one, mostly because it's very, very American focused, and in terms of geographically, like talking about things that happened in particular places and even laws, like that's very specific to being American. That is the focus of the book. It doesn't say that here. I can't remember if in the intro it was specifically chosen to be that, or just that it happens to be that. So that threw me off a little bit, just because like I'm Canadian, so some things are different, and you know, as Canadians we have a lot of American culture represented to us, so sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, or just like it reminds me that I would also like to read a Canadian book like this. You know, that would be also good as well. So yeah, so one section a week, and it's on Scribd, and I think, yeah, so, and then I should finish it in time. And also for nonfiction, I decided to pick Let Love Rule by Lenny Kravitz. This I'm listening to on audio. It's also on Scribd. It is narrated by Lenny Kravitz. I have about 3 hours left, so my goal is to read 30 minutes a week, and I think I can do that when I'm doing sort of like house chores and stuff like that. I am not someone who listens to a lot of audiobooks. I have tried different, and I only listen to nonfiction, and I usually listen to specifically memoirs and productivity books, but I've fallen out of habit with that at all. I think because I used to listen in the morning, and then I realized I actually want to be with my own thoughts in the morning, so listening, you know, and I also find it hard to find a good place to stop sometimes. So anyway, so hopefully over the next couple of weeks, I will come up with a good time or a good activity to pair listening to audiobooks with, because it's just totally fallen to the wayside, and it is something I like to do. But I just don't do it with the frequency and volume that a lot of people engage with audiobooks, and that's okay. I can have it at my own pace. I just need to figure out a little bit what my own pace is. So I am going to work on that. And it's also the only audiobook that I am listening to, and when I do my reading challenge, I'm hoping not to have any audiobooks, because it is a different style of, like, I don't count, there's no page count, like I don't even, like I don't include this in my page count when I do my page count per day, because I'm listening to it. It's just, and I listen to so few audiobooks that I found that it's not something that I need to create a system for. My previous system, when I used to do the grids and stuff like that, like I used to do the, I guess they're not grids, they're more like charts, like I fill in the bars kind of thing. I would do that by 15-minute chunks per chapter, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm doing something else. Anyway, wow, I talked a lot for not a lot of specific books talking, but yeah, so those are the three. I'm looking forward to doing the reading challenge again. I am hoping to do it sort of the same way, to do random draws every week for a couple of fiction and a couple of nonfiction, and then reset the clock or reset the count every week. That really worked for me. I'll share more information as it comes to it, and I'm hoping that it happens. Like, who knows what's going to happen between now and then, but that's my current plan. I did also want to let people know I apologize for the fact that sometimes my videos have been posting with comments disabled. I have no idea why that's happening. I've often double checked to make sure that that's not the case, and then I noticed that after it's posted it has been disabled. So if you ever come across that, feel free to comment on another video or let me know on like Instagram or whatever, and I will happily fix that. And I apologize for that's happening. I've been very active in ensuring that it's not, and then so now I try to check on the day that it's posted that it's still there. The last couple went up without a glitch, but it's been sort of off and on, which is worse, because then once I feel like, okay, it's not happening, and then it starts to happen again. Anyway, and also thank you to anyone who watched my film and TV centered video. I know it's not for everyone, but I do really enjoy doing them. I do plan on doing film videos more regularly in the future, so I'm hoping to work up to that. I understand if people only want to watch one or many or some kinds, or depending on their own week, your time is your own. You get to decide what you watch. But I appreciate anyone who does watch the TV and film ones. And I'm actually, I gotta say, I'm a little sad that I'm not participating in any readathons this month, given that there are so many readathons and exciting things like the Fall Into Reading Challenge and Space Opera September. They just don't quite match up with what I'm doing. I guess I could probably do the Fall Into Reading. I'm enjoying the sort of random freedomness of the library, and just sort of letting things go and going with the flow, which is not my normal tempo. So I'm like, as long as I'm enjoying it and it's working okay, and I've been hitting like a fair amount of goals, I'm like, this is okay. Like, it's okay to sort of loosen up a bit. It's not it's not my natural way of being, but I think it's good to sort of, you know, allow room for that. That being said, if one of my holds does end up coming through for the library, I might be able to sneak it into the March Mystery Madness subgenre September. Because I saw so many videos come up about that recently, and I realized that actually one of the books that I am getting from the library is a mystery, and it is a book that I think I can read in a week. And I think the readathon is for 1 week, and it is a subgenre. So fingers crossed that all works out. It didn't go into transit right away, so I got a little worried, but it is now on the way to the library. So hopefully that will work out, and I'll be able to participate in that at the very least. So yeah, so it feels a bit weird. I feel like a lot of the things that I'm doing, like I'm not participating in as many readathons and stuff, but I really just it's sort of letting things like just sort of be a little bit more freeform, and I don't know, and seems to be okay, like I think, but I do miss participating in things, so maybe that will be something that will be for next year. Yeah, so I don't know, but I love watching. I love, especially on Instagram, I love people seeing people's progress on readathons and challenges, and I love watching TBR videos, so I still watch them even if I'm not participating. So, or participating just a little, as sometimes is the case. Okay, now I am rambling. Thank you very much for this video, watching this video, and if you have any trilogy recommendations, and feel free to drop them in the comments, especially on Monday or Tuesday, because we'll decide on Tuesday night what we're reading. So I'm really curious as to what it will be. It may not be a trilogy. It might be 3 standalones. It might be a month off. I have no idea. So yeah, trying to work on this whole like free flow thing. How am I doing? All right, let me know. Are you participating in any readathons in September, or are you like me, being a little more just let things happen? Whew, it's interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Take care.